Hello, welcome to my channel. Dive into the world of web development with our latest tutorial focused on HTML5 and CSS3. In this video, we'll walk you through creating a modern and stylish web page from scratch, perfect for beginners and intermediate learners. For the first step, we'll create a new file. You can create it anywhere you want. I'll be creating mine on my desktop. Then, I'm using Visual Studio Code, which is one of the best IDEs out there. But feel free to use whatever you're comfortable with, even something as simple as Notepad. I'm creating a file for the HTML part named index.html. I'll open it via Visual Studio Code. Then, I'll create a new file for the CSS code, which we'll call styles.css. I'm creating a file for the HTML part named index.html. I'll open it via Visual Studio Code. Then, I'll create a new file for the CSS code, which we'll call styles.css. Now, let's start with the HTML part. I'll write some HTML code for the head and body. Then, in the body, I'll create a header, sidebar, main content, and footer. You can add these sections as you wish. It's not a must to follow exactly what I'm doing. Now, in the head part of our HTML file, we have several elements like meta, title, and link. Let me explain what these tags are for. Meta. This tag is used for specifying metadata about the HTML document. Metadata is information about the data in your document. For example, you can set the character set, page description, keywords for search engines, and viewport settings, which are essential for responsive design. Title. The title tag is straightforward. It defines the title of your document. This is what's displayed in the browser's title bar or tab. It's also used by search engines, so it's important for SEO. Link. The link tag is mainly used to link to external resources, like your CSS files. This is how we connect our HTML document to our CSS styles, which will style and lay out our web page. Now, let's move on to the body part of our HTML document. I'll write this code in Visual Studio Code, and as I do, I'll explain each part to you. Header. Inside the header tag, we have an H1 tag with the text, "Welcome to my website." The header is typically the first thing users see. It's used to introduce the site or the page content. Aside with navigation, next is the Aside section, which contains our navigation bar within a nav tag. This is where we create a list of links using all and li tags. Each li or list item has an a tag, which is a hyperlink. Here, we've added links to home, about, services, and contact. This navigation bar helps users easily find their way around our website. Main content. Following that, we have the main tag. This is the primary content of our web page. Inside it, we use a section tag, which includes an H2 heading titled Main Content and a paragraph P that says this is the main content of the website. The main tag is used for content that is directly related to or expands upon the central topic of a document or the central functionality of an application. Footer. Finally, at the bottom, we have the footer tag. Here, we're simply adding a copyright notice, but you can also include other information like contact details or additional links. So this is how we structure the body of our HTML document, creating a simple yet effective layout for a web page. Now, I'm going to use the Live Server extension in Visual Studio Code to display the result of this tutorial. Live Server is an incredibly useful tool for web development. It allows us to see how our web page looks in real time as we code. This immediate feedback is essential for understanding how HTML structures our content. Once we've examined the pure HTML layout, I'll then proceed to add some CSS code to bring style and life to the web page. Now, let's add some style to our web page by writing CSS. To keep this tutorial short, I'll paste the codes here and explain them to you briefly. Body. We start with the body selector. Here, we set the font family to Arial, a sans serif font. We also remove any default margins and padding for a clean layout and set the box sizing to border box. This helps manage the layout more predictably. We're using a grid display to organize our elements, with specific areas for the header, navigation, content, and footer. The grid template columns and rows are set to define the size of each section. Header. For the header, we assign it to the grid area named header. We set the background color and the text color to white. The text is centered, and we add some padding for spacing. Sidebar. The aside tag, which is our sidebar, is assigned to the grid area nav. We give it a background color and add padding for spacing. Navigation links. Inside the sidebar, we style our navigation links. We remove the default list styles, change the text color to white, remove text decorations, and make sure they display as block elements. This makes our links more button-like. We also add padding for better spacing. Hover effect on links. We add a hover effect to our navigation links. When you hover over them, the background color changes to a darker shade. Main content area. In the main section, we set the grid area to content, add padding for spacing, and use a pale blue background for a calming effect. Footer. The footer is set to the grid area footer with a light purple background. We center the text and add some padding. Interactive effects. Lastly, we add an interactive box shadow effect to the main content area when hovered over and a smooth transition effect for the background color change on the navigation links. This CSS will style our web page, giving it a modern and visually appealing look. And finally, I'm using the Live Server extension in Visual Studio Code to display the result of this tutorial. As you can see, this is our result. In this video, we focused on using just HTML and CSS code. I didn't include navigation functionality in this tutorial, but we covered the basics of creating a structured and styled web page. Please remember to subscribe to my channel for future videos. Your support helps me create more content like this. Stay tuned for more tutorials on HTML, CSS, and other web development topics. Thank you for watching.